So let's get it underway. Tonight's props, as I mentioned before, if you don't have them, you can grab them as we warm up. But yeah, of course, the water bottle. Going to use that as well as drink from it during our short breaks. So have that one handy. And the other prop being something that you can use to step up onto during one of our later exercises. Now, this is a yoga block, not particularly high, but big enough for an adult shoe to be able to stand up on it and be nice and steady. And it gives you something to set one hip higher and work your way up to off the ground. You could, of course, use a gym step, which I'm going to pull out later, but you don't need something that's too high. You could use a hardcover book if you don't have anything too much more. The main thing is the step that you use most definitely needs to make sure that your knee is going to be lower to the ground than your hip for the exercise that we're doing. Otherwise, it's very difficult to maintain your hip control during that exercise. All right, but let's kick it off and get it started. So in your space where you are right now, we're just going to start out with some easy ankle flex. So nice spaghetti loops, leaving the front of your foot on the floor. We've got a relaxed foot, including toes, and we're rolling across the toes and back to just the ball of the foot and across the toes again without the heel coming down on the ground and going the other way. So if you're getting to see yourself in your own picture, trying to make it look like you've got a bit of a spaghetti leg going on there, get some ankle mobility up and going. And we'll change sides, shift your weight over. Same on the other side, rolling the gentle pressure across the ball of the foot forward and the other way across the toes, back and across the ball of the foot again. A little bit like our hip circles, we're trying to take our ankle on the biggest journey we can take it. And then we're going to change direction and head it around the other way. All right, into some jogging, remembering we're trying to keep our toes relaxed all the time. We need to keep them relaxed in our skates, not claw against the bottom of our skates. So we want to keep them relaxed when we're jogging. We're rebounding like we talk about when we've got to do starts. We're not soaking the ground up and then trying to push off it. We're just rebounding with a short contact time on the ground, just on the ball of our foot, not our toes, and then a super light touch of a relaxed toe behind you between each step. 10 more seconds of that regular jog on the spot. We'll shift those steps out to the side. Again, we're just resisting the ground. We've got broken knees. Our toes totally relaxed. They almost feel like they're not being pressed onto the ground at all. It's just through the ball of the foot, or if we were on our skates, it'd be through the second wheel. When we're reaching out to the side, feet are pointing straight forward. We're not letting our feet open up like this as we step out to the side because we don't want that when we're pushing. We're going to switch to tapping forward now, out in front. So rebounding off the ball of the foot, we shift our weight back a little and it's a super light touch, light as a feather with the heel on the ground out in front of you. 10 more seconds. And come around front on now. Go back to jogging and we're going to put a circle into effect. Each time the foot comes off the ground out to the side, comes around, comes back in and rebounds off the ball of the foot underneath. So trying to keep those feet closed while we do that quick loop. So we don't open the shoe up for the camera to see the side of it. Same as when we're pushing with our skate, we don't want an open skate during the push or in the air. Three, two, one. Good job. Okay, on the spot, we're going to go into some knee flexion. So getting that standard stance with your legs straight down from the hips. We're broken at the knee and the weight is just on the forefoot. And we're going to take the knees through a nice round loop, and feel the pressure on our feet as we roll it backwards along the side of the foot to the heel, across the heel, forwards along the sides of the foot, and then across the ball of the foot at the front, not the toes. So it's looking like these ones, across the side to the heels, across the heel, up the side to the ball of the foot, across the ball of the foot and away and down the opposite side again. So a nice smooth and slow, so you can feel yourself manipulating that pressure on your feet, the same as if you needed to get edges on your skates at the same time. Let's go back the other way now. Two more. One more. All right, and up, moving over to the right-hand side of your space. Some crossovers now. Again, it's like, it's that rebounding. It's being able to have a short contact just on the ball of the foot. And we're going to step into the space, cross over, step out to the other side, and step back into the space, cross over, out to the other side. So we're rebounding off the sides like so. Let's go. Focus on keeping everything facing forward all the time. That's your shoulders, your hips, your knees are always pointing forward, and your shoes are always lined up with where you're facing. 10 more seconds. And we're going to lift up the muscular work now by making it with high knees. Ten more seconds, get those knees right up. Two, one, done. Good job. I'm going to ditch this and we're going to go straight into some hurdle walking. So again, over the right-hand side of your space, thinking about hurdles that are about hip high, we're going to step way up and over one and plant ourselves under and slide under the next one as low as we can, focusing on getting the hips low. Over again and low and flat again to get under and headed back to the right. Over one, under one. Over one, under one. Back across, over and under, over and under. Last one, over and under, over and under. All right, back to the middle of our space. Some hip circles, using your camera to keep that head really still and taking those hips on the biggest route you can take them around. We're going to keep our whole shoe on the floor. So we're thinking about those 3 points of contact, the inside and outside of your forefoot and your heel. Keep some pressure on that the whole time while taking your hip as far as you can. 2 more laps in this direction. That's one. That's two, and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, bit of proprioception stuff now to wake things up. We're going to do a single leg balance. So in the middle of your space, on your right leg, we're going to keep, this is one of the few times we're going to keep the knee straight on the leg we're standing on. So you're going to pick the left one up and just break it so that it's sitting slightly behind. Doesn't have to be picked right up off the ground, just take it off the ground. Right leg straight, left leg broken and free, arms out to the side, and we're going to close eyes for 30 seconds and go. Now this should engage plenty of ankle work at the ground. I don't want you to claw at your toes I want you to use those 3 points of contact. Feel your weight moving around and the pressure in your shoe, and work between your forefoot and your heel to keep balancing that out. Keep those eyes closed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's change. Left leg standing now. Straight leg, broken free leg on the right. Arms out and eyes closed. Doing the work at ground level. Wait, there's me gone. Ground level, it should be all happening from the ankle. Eyes are closed, arms out, heads up. Trying to keep that knee straight so that the ankle's doing all the work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and open. Good job. Okay, where are we? Leg swing time. So let's get side on in your space. Remember, we're going to drive up and control the trip back. Pause, hanging below the hip, and then drive back and slowly back to pause position. So standing on the left, a slight broken knee. We're going to try and keep our torso upright, and 10 swings on the right leg. Here we go. 1 and back. 2 and back. 3 back. 4 back. 5 back. 6 back. 7 back. 8 back. 9 back. 10 back. All right, we're going to change legs, shifting over. This is swinging the left one now, and 1 back. 2 back. Making sure we're controlling that trip down. Don't let it just rebound off the top and fly back. We want a slow trip down, a powerful trip up. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, going to side now, moving slightly to the left-hand side of your space so you're not going to collect anything. Same deal, we're going to drive it up, and the moment we get to the top, we're going to try and control the descent, pause under the hip, and then do the same in the opposite side. Here we go. On standing on your left, we're going to swing the right. 1, 2, and across. 3, and across. 4, and across. 5, and across. 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10, and across. All right, changing sides, you might need to shift over to your right-hand side of your space a little, and the other leg. Here we go. 1, and across. 2, and across. 3, across. 4, across. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and lucky last, 10, and back. All right, nice work. Now let's get quick drinks, and then we're going to press on and into it. So in the spirit of every day is leg day, we're going to try and keep some tempo into it tonight. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 exercises to do. 2 of those will give your legs a mild break, and we'll only do 1 of each of those 2. And the other 6, we're going to try and do 2 lots of 1 minute of each of. And that's going to keep us punching along for most of the time. So for openers, we've just got those hips up and mobile, driving the power out of the front side and out of the back side. We're going to take that into hip lateral control and power. So we're going to go down onto the ground on all fours. So from this all fours position, we're going to do our out and around exercise. So we make sure that we've got some belly control. That means we're pulling the muscle in your lower pelvis like you don't want to go to the bathroom. So you're trying to hold off taking a pee. That's going to create a little hollow in your belly and should help keep your lower back somewhere between flat and a slight cat back. What we don't want is back like this. This looks like a roller coaster. So we want a little bit of cat back, a little bit of belly hollow. We're going to take the leg that's near the camera. We're going to push it until it's straight out the back. And we're going to swing it around the side, flat and controlled, bring it all the way back and slide it back in without putting it down. We're going to go for 1 minute continuously. Here we go. Push, flatten around, back, and return. Push, back and around, flat, and return. Use your camera to check that you're pushing it out to level and that you're bringing it around to level. So you should be able to somewhere, if you've got your camera at a good height, be able to watch your foot, hide your hip, move up and hide your shoulders, and then go back through that same range before you take it back down to the ground. Let's press on. We're 30 seconds away now. So just continuous and smooth. We're not throwing it and we're not swinging it fast. It's all controlled, making sure we can keep that hip still. And we've got the strength to be able to keep the leg out there, take it through that full range and keep it from sagging. Last 15 seconds. Pushing it out to flat, around, back, and return. Last one, out, around, flat, back, and return. Good job. Let's turn around, put our other side to the camera. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Remember, we want that belly hollow. So turning that muscle on like you don't want to pee yourself. Create a bit of a hollow in the belly and a flat to curved back that you can maintain. And let's go. Push it out. Bring it around, flat and level. Take it back and return. 1 minute. Use that camera that on that flat route that the hip goes through. You can see the foot. Hide your hip, hide your shoulders, move back through hiding your hip and go back out into that reverse position. Smooth and controlled the whole way. We don't need to rush it. We're trying to build condition and control here, not power to throw the leg around. This is to develop our range rather than try and see how powerful we can be in a limited range. We want to extend. 25 seconds to go. 15. Doing good, gang. Keep it up. Keep that leg straight while it's up and headed around. Last one. Around, back, and down. Good job. All right, up on our feet. Time to take the legs and give them something to think about tomorrow. So apologies to anyone that needs to spend tomorrow on a ladder, on a roof, or doing squats. I got a bit of feedback about that from a couple of people with a couple of different occupations last week. We'll see if you've developed any resistance this week. So our first one is going to be skating jacks. So it's a variation on skating swings. With skating, so with a normal jumping jack, we go from this position, spring into this position, spring back into this position. So it's a jumping jack standard. You probably learned it at school doing these ones. We go, it's like snow angels, except no snow and no lying down. Okay, with a skating jack, what we're going to do is we're going to move through our poses from here to here to here and back. So that halfway arm pose, halfway arm pose. And we're going to use that every time we get into an arm pose, we're going to go out into a wide stance. Every time we go back to the middle pose, we're going to spring to let our knees have room for the hands to go past. And then we're going to spring out to this pose. So we spring in halfway, out full extension. In halfway, out full extension. Okay, so we're going to do it continuous. It doesn't need to be super, super fast, but it just needs to be controlled. We're just going to get a rhythm going and keep it going. And we're going to go for 1 minute. And I'm not going to lie, these are difficult to hold your position and not puff yourself out. So just try for perfect technique, like most of the things that we work on with off skate. If you want it to transfer to your skating, we just need to practice perfect. So here we go. We'll start in our outward position. We've got a spread stance here. We're in the arm pose. Remember that arm swing hand recommendation, and that's folding your fingers down, not making a full fist, just folding the fingers down, putting your thumb on them. So you get a flat hand. You can tell from how hard you're squeezing your thumb whether you're making your arms too tense or not. Here we go, starting here, 5, 3, 2, 1, and let's go for 1 minute. We're going to try and not let the skating position get broken. So side on, I'd look like this. Keeping that curve in my back. Shoulders are still, despite the fact my arms are swinging. Halfway. "15 seconds. Told you this wasn't fun. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Good job. Let's go into recovery mode now. So rocking with the kickbacks. Whew. That's a good start off. That should keep the heart rate high for the rest of it. Knees up. Shake the water off. Let's go through again. Kickbacks. We're keeping our knees nice and low while we kick back to stretch our thigh. We're going to knees up at the front. And we're going to shake the legs out. All right, here we go. So going into set 2, I said we weren't going to do these twice. We're going to split this minute between doing those skate jacks that we just did. And now we're going to do regular skate swings. So we're going to be swinging our arms through that midpoint when we're in the lowest position. And when we move up into our slightly higher position, we've got the arm pose. So swing past the ankles as we're down low. As we come back up into our normal position, we're at the arm pose. So through, up, through, up, through. You're almost going like you could almost, if you had straight fingers, you could almost skim your shoes with them in the low position and then move up to the normal skating position to lock that arm pose. Okay, let's set it up. This is going to be going for 1 minute. So find the skating position, hollow in the belly, little curve in the lower back. 3, 2, 1, let's go. We don't need to see how fast we can go. We want to just go smoothly. This is a perfect chance. You've got the camera and the screen as a mirror to get a perfect arm swing, making sure it's symmetrical on either side. And when we get into that top pose position, having this alignment and this alignment. "30 seconds done, 30 to go. Don't let your toes take pressure onto the floor or scrunch them in your shoe. Most of this work's getting done at or behind the ball of your foot. 10 seconds. Should be burning in the thigh now, just above the knee. 2, 1, done. Good job. Into recovery mode again. Side to side with these kickbacks. Good job, gang. Knees up at the front. Another 3 aside there, and then 3 aside, shaking the water off, trying to really loosen the muscles up, feel like they're just swinging around on your bones for those ones. So kickbacks with the knees right down. Knees up to stretch the backside out and keep it moving. Then we're going to shake it out. All right, quick drink. Okay, and we're going to do our bench spring exercise. Now, don't do this one on your step unless your step is a proper bench. So the only kind of step that's probably safe and stable enough to do this exercise on would be one like this that's designed for the job, and it needs to be quite low. But I'm imagining most people don't have that. I'm going to take mine out of the equation. Don't use your small block for a step for this job, because if you miss the block or you land half on it, you're just going to roll your ankle and hurt yourself. So we're just going to work off the floor for this. So this is the one where we start at, if we're on the right-hand side of our space, we've got a wide stance. We're going to shift our weight dynamically to the left side and spring off the left leg to take off. We're going to go in the air and land on this leg, then this one. So we shift, spring, and land over the other side. Shift, spring, and land over the other side. So we're not doing a full crossover. We're just using this leg to pull us in and drive us to the new position. All the time we stay in the skating position. So I shift and drive to land over here. I'm not going to shift and drive up and come down again. I'm always staying in the skating position. And through all this jumping in the skating position, really important that we don't let our shoulders end up lower to the ground than our hips, because then we're putting a lot of strain on our back and we drag all of our pressure forward onto our toes, which we don't want. So we're going to go for a minute continuous on this one. Let's start on the right-hand side of our space. Going to start going left. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So we're maintaining a perfect position here, keeping our bum down, despite using that inside leg to powerfully drive us up and over to the other side of our space. So that we've got a solid core to drive off and our body's not behaving like a wet noodle above it. We keep that hollow in our belly so that we can maintain a little curve in our lower back and keep that body position still and strong.
Make sure we're not coming off the toes. Last 5 seconds. And done. All right, back to recovery mode. Let yourself breathe nice and easy. It's normal to feel like that the moment you finish is when your breathing is under the least amount of control. That's totally normal, and it's probably when we do something like that that's about a minute long, your heart rate starts lifting up to match the effort that you're putting in, but it takes a while for your heart to go, okay, now we need more oxygenated blood for these muscles, so I'll start providing more of that. So your heart, the work that your heart does trails a little bit behind the work that your body does, which means your heart rate's probably going to feel like it keeps climbing for a good few seconds right after you stop. So it's normal if you stop and suddenly stand up, that standing up and having an effect on your blood pressure, plus your heart still trying to give some oxygenated blood to those muscles, is going to feel like you're in the most distress for those 5 seconds right after you finish. That's totally normal. So we're going to go in and go for another 1 minute of those bench springs. What I want you to think about this time, if you've still got that solid hollow in here, solid curve in the lower back, so your hips are rotated underneath, then I want you to think about making sure that as you transfer your weight, don't do it by lots of pushing from the outside like you would push off the wall on indoor. I want you to think about it transferring your weight as pulling from the inside leg. So we pull with the inside leg and then spring off the inside leg. So it's that inside or the leading leg that we want doing all the work here. Let's start on the left side of our space this time. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 1 minute. Staying low in the skating position, but making sure our hips are always closer to the floor than our shoulders. And that pressure as we pull our body weight across and then take off should be at or slightly behind the ball of our foot. Got about 20 seconds left now. Don't let your shoulders get too low and the weight get onto your toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Good job. All right, we're going to go into recovery mode for a minute. As soon as you get yourselves back in, let's keep recovering it for a moment. That's a good 2 sets of bench springs there. So we were concentrating on the work that was being done by the lead leg, which is kind of that pulling action for that last exercise. And we're going to do a variation on the skate jump next that's going to work on the strength of the outside leg to stop a movement and then to push off, like a conventional push or a push off the wall or an outside foot push on the corner. So when we do a cross back, it depends how much space you've got as to how easy this exercise is. So last week when we did skate jumps, we used the outside leg. We'd take the inside one off the ground. We'd use the outside leg to jump over and then land on a new outside leg, stabilize that, and then take off again to the other side. With a cross back, we do a little bit less stabilization and a bit more holding our body still like we're cornering. So with a cross back, we start out the same way. We go over, and when we land, we let this leg, instead of balancing it in the air, we let it come behind like a crossover, and then we drive that knee through and back to start the jump. Cross behind, cross behind, 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 behind. So it's a little bit less stress to get yourself steady, but we still don't want to let all the pressure fall behind and twist us up. We just let that free leg come down and then land out here. And if we're landing it well, we're not going to put it out here with the toes stretched out or the toe open. We're going to park it just like we would on an ideal corner. So it's still underneath our center of mass where we get good pressure and good power. So that cross back, we're going to land, cross back with a good position, both feet pointing forward. And then we come from there, drive out of it and back to the other side. We're going to go for 1 minute. Here we go. Setting it up on one side. Belly hollow, hips rocked underneath. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Don't let your toes do the work. Keep those hips lower than your shoulders. Fifteen seconds to go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. All right, recovering again. Doing well, gang. Kick back, knees up in front. Expect the breathing to be really difficult right now. Get the water out or shake the lactic out. If we could actually do that, that'd be amazing. Be coming out of my toes like a fire hose right now. Kicking back again. Knees up. And shaking the water off before we embark on another minute. Now this time, to really test keeping our bodies still and straight, we're going to do the same exercise with our hands behind our back. Now it's really important when we do that, that we don't get into a position where our hips are high and our shoulders are low. That's bad and we don't want it. And we also want to find what we need to do with our body, what muscles we need to turn on, so we're not hitting the sides and swinging around at the waist like this. We don't want to feel like we're having to wrestle out of a straitjacket or pull hard on our hands. The body should be able to be relaxed and stay perfectly straight and in that skating position. Here we go. Starting out on the right-hand side of our space. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Hollow in the belly. Keep those hips down. Thirty seconds to go. Ten. Keep the toes from doing the work. And done. All right. Recovering again. Doing really well, gang. Oh, I need a break from talking. So rest assured, this is as hard for me as it is for you guys. All right, let's have a quick drink. And the good news is our next exercise is going to give us a little bit of reprieve because we're going to be down on the floor. These will be a couple that we haven't done before. So once you've had a drink, let's get you down on the floor, lying on your left side, facing the camera, perfectly side on in your space so you can watch yourself on camera. So I'm lying perfectly straight right now, like so, and I've just got this arm, instead of reach straight out, I've just got it back to give my head a little bit of support and just stop me tipping forward. So this is a position that we're going to set up in, lying side on, a little bit of head support and an elbow out in front. So our first exercise is one that we're going to work a lot of the abdominal group and the hip group. So how this exercise works, now you can take this other hand, elbows just on your side like it's lying on your side. You're going to move the hand around forward so your arm's bent. You can just put your fingers down on the floor just out in front of you. And that's just going to help you stay a little bit more stable if you need to, particularly if you haven't done this exercise before. So what we're going to do is while we're lying perfectly flat, one leg is on top of the other, my shoes are stacked one on top of the other, we are going to lift both legs and take them off the ground. We're going to separate them and raise them, and we're going to stay side on and hold. They're both perfectly straight. They're both perfectly side on. I'm not opening them to the sky at all. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Okay, we're going to switch sides right now. So swing it around. I'm going to lie on the other side. Again, perfectly straight, legs on top of each other, shoes on top of each other, elbow out in front with a bit of head support. And if you need, fingers on the ground out in front. We're going to go for another 30. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw them up. Use the upper hip and the inner groin to pull them both up. Keep the shoes pointed towards the camera and holding. That's 10 seconds. That's 20, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Good job. All right, next one, we go with a slight variation. So we're going to go back to our original side, lying side on again here. And what we're going to do, we're going to take both the legs up once we start. So both of the legs will go up into that position, and we'll spend some of the time scissoring the top leg. So we hold the bottom one in place and we're going to scissor the top one. Okay, and then we're going to hold the top one in place and we're going to scissor the bottom one to it. We're not going to touch the floor and we're not going to touch our feet together. And both legs remain elevated the whole time. And making sure that once you start, if you're lying perfectly straight, that once you start, you don't start curving your body and slowly turning into a U shape. We want to stay perfectly straight while we do the exercise. We've got them both elevated. We're either lifting the top or lifting the bottom. Okay, so set up on our left side. Let's get them both up and up. Holding. Let's scissor that top one. Keep the bottom one right where it is. Three, 2, 1, and done. Now the bottom, holding the top still. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Good job. Let's pivot it around. change the roles that those legs are playing. I'm sweating my tail off here. Oh, a lot more humid than it was when we were doing these sessions a couple of months ago, that's for sure. Okay, so elbow out for head support, fingers on the ground out in front if you need, but we're lying perfectly straight. Hips are straight up, one above the other. They're not rolled forward or rolled back. Our shoes are one on top of the other. Let's push it up and hold. And let's scissor that top. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's keep it still and use the bottom now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Legs are both perfectly straight, remember, 10, and let's bring them down. Good job. All right, back on our feet. Time to get our jump on again, because every day is leg day as a speed skater. So depending on how big or small your space is, if you've got a small space like me, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be working diagonally across it, because we're going to need to do a small pre-jump that we can drop in from. We're going to move down to our, sink down to our most powerful position, which is about here, where we've got 90 degrees here or close to it, and 90 degrees here or close to it. We don't want to go so low that we're slow to move out of the bottom. So low enough that we get a lot of rebound and power, not so low that we're slow to get going again. So it's going to be a small jump forward so that we drop in, and then a powerful jump up and over with a soft landing. Now, we don't need to worry about the skating position here, other than we lower ourselves into it off the drop with both arms back. And when we spring out of the drop, we drive forward like the angle we're coming out of the starting box. We drive both arms up and our body up and send ourselves as high as possible and land with a nice soft landing that doesn't slam our feet on the ground or try and stop our joints all of a sudden. All right, we're going to go continuously for a minute. Don't rush so fast from one to the other that you're doing them with poor technique. It's better that they're all perfect and you only get 15 or 20 done, then they get really ragged and you go, yes, but I got 40 of them done, so I got better training. You actually didn't. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we drop, jump, and land softly. We turn around and go again. Drop, jump, and a soft landing. We turn around and we go again. It's 20 seconds. It's 30 seconds out of 60. Keep it going. $15 to go. Last one. And that's a minute. And let's go back into recovery mode then. Again, you probably feel like your heart rate and your breathing has hit its maximum about now, right after you've finished. That's totally normal feeling for when you're only doing an effort of about the 50 seconds to a minute and a half mark. That's often why when you do a 500 meter, you're in the most physical distress right after you cross the finish line. So that's right when your heart and lungs have had to catch up to the amount of work that you're doing. shaking the water out. We'll go through for a third time. Let things calm down just a little, just so that we get our composure back and we can do that second set with good technique. All right, let's get back into the corner of that space. Remember, we're not rushing to do as many as we can. We're trying to only do as many as we can do perfectly. We're on a 1 minute time limit because by the time we get out to there with continuous effort, we start to get distressed and the technique starts falling down. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop, jump, soft landing. Take the time to set yourselves up at each end. These exercises make me know I've got very little space here to stay on camera. "20 seconds left. Probably next one's your last one. And done. Back into recovery mode. Well done, gang. Only got a couple of exercises left to go. Let's add in a little bit of that jogging, like from the warm-up. As lazy as you like, as long as your toes aren't getting clenched on the bottom of your shoes and your toes aren't doing the work. We'll just compose ourselves for a moment longer before we do the next power exercise. Side steps. Heels out in front. All right, grabbing a quick drink again. So our next exercise is a split jump. We're still not at the point where I want this group to do them dynamically from jump into jump. So this one is just like we practiced at last session, jump into pose. So we do the dynamic leg switch and then we drive back up into the standing position. So if you remember, our split jump variation is going to work like this. So we start at one side of the space. We're going to do kind of a lunge step out into the skating position in the box stance with most pressure on the front leg. And we're going to drive up so that we can switch legs freely with straight legs in midair and come back down and lie and land in the opposite split stance. We hold this skating position in the air. We don't come up as we switch and then come down again for the landing. We want to carry this position up for the switch and down for the landing. All right, so I'll talk us through the first few so we can all stay on the same legs. I'm going to step forward with the front leg first. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Right forward, split jump, land it, drive back. Left forward, split jump, drive back. Right forward, split jump, drive back. Left forward, split jump, drive back. Let's keep the pressure on the balls of the foot and not the toes. Let's keep it up. Keeping your head down is a good way to make sure when you haven't done a lot of these, you can stay in the skating position while you're in the air and not stand up. Three, two, one. Drive back and done. Let's recover that one. Good job. Knees up. And shaking it out. Let's recover it again. Doing well, gang. We're nearly there. Let yourselves relax. Try and breathe naturally. Let things catch up. And mentally, just focus on relaxing and the technique you're going to need to use when we do that second set. Keep it as clean and smooth as possible. Making sure that you hit a quality box stance on the ground, that we're keeping our hips lower than our shoulders, and we're keeping a good arm swing. So when we hit that lower position, we're in that, we get that alignment through the back arm, down through the forearm. We drive up for the switch and land, hitting that perfect pose on the other side. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Step, switch, drive. Step, switch, drive. Step, switch, drive. Step, switch, drive. 40 seconds to go. Last 15 seconds. Keep it quality. Last one. Good job, and recover that one. All right, we are nearly across the line here. So hang in there. When we do these sessions at this tempo, getting a really good cardio workout as well, because we don't have recoveries long enough or a structure that switches back and forth enough for your heart rate to come down too far between exercises. So natural breathing, don't force it. Just let it go. So that's it for our dynamic power exercises. Our next one's very much about control. So let's get that prop I talked about earlier. For me tonight, it's going to be this yoga block. It might be a hardcover book for you. It might be a step, but it needs to be something that's taking that foot up off the ground. But it's important that it doesn't take it so high that this thigh ends up horizontal. That's way too high. We need to make sure that it elevates that foot, but not so much that we have to lift the hip up to compensate. We need to be able to get that knee elevated without any change to the hip, because like a good crossover in the corner, we want to keep our hips flat to the floor. So let's get our prop on the floor, out in the middle of our space. Remember, this can be done just straight up on the floor. If you don't have a prop tonight, that's okay. You can have a think about it between now and next week as to what you'd like to use next week. All right, so we'll start with our right foot up on the prop. Now this exercise, what we do is we use the leg that's on the prop to draw our body weight up to that foot, and to draw the feet together. So when we're in the low position, we've got a leg extended out and one up on the block, and we're trying to keep our hips very level. We don't want them like this with a high hip and a low hip. We want them flat and low. And then we're going to use the leg that's on the block. We're going to squeeze our legs together like we're almost dragging our feet together while we extend this leg and drive ourselves up to almost straight. And then we're going to lower ourselves down and extend this one out again until we can rest it back on the floor. Okay, so from the side, might look a little bit like this. I'll give you a quick side on. So my elevated foot on the block and another one out on the floor. I'm going to squeeze my feet together as I'm extending this one on the block until I bring them together very slowly, not touching them together. And this leg's still got a broken knee. And then I lower it as I take this one out with hip control, rest it on the floor again before I drag them together as I extend this one up. All right, let's go. Front on your block or in the middle of your space. Right foot on, left foot sitting on its side out on the carpet, and we're flat. Shoulders aren't tipped, hips aren't tipped. And we're going to drag them together, drag it across the floor as you extend up. And that's one. And then we're going to reach as we come down, sit it down. That's one. Drag it in again. That's two. Extend it out again and place it. Drag it in. That's three. Extend it out again and place it. Drag it. Four. Extend it and place it. Keep your toes from doing any work up on the block. That's five. Place it. Drag. That's six. Take it back out. Place it. Drag. That's seven. Take it back out. Place. Drag. That's eight. Take it back out. Place it. Drag. That's nine. Back out. And place. Drag. 10. Take it back out. And place it. Good job. Oh, if you're like me, you got sweat dripping off your everythings right now. It's going to get this little nasty message off my screen. And we can kick on for our final. So this is going to be a final 10 reps with the other foot up on the block. This exercise comes to you as you do the reps. It's all about doing it perfect, slow and controlled, without parts of your body going where you don't want them or wiggling around out of your control. Whew. So let's get the left foot up on the block now, or on your chosen place. Set ourselves up and go. Let's drag that foot in as we extend up and lift it. Take it back down, extending out and place it. That's one. Drag. Two. Extend and place. Drag. Three. Extend and place. Drag. Four. Extend and place. Drag. That's halfway. Extend. Place. Drag. Six. Extend and place. 4 reps from the end of the workout. Drag. 7. Extend. Place it. Drag. Keep those hips flat. 8. Extend. And place. Drag. 9, extend and place. Last one, drag. 10, extend and place. And let's get off that thing for good. Well played. Prop out of the way so we don't fall over it. Let's give it a quick recover, particularly that backside chain. The glutes do a lot of work. Inside groin does a lot of work in that exercise. Knees up. And shake it out. Let's jog it out momentarily. Taps at the back. Again, as you get tired, tendency is always to start using the toes, but we're going to keep using the front of the foot to rebound, and a light touch behind. Let's switch to side taps. Letting yourself breathe nice and relaxed. Fortunately, you don't have to do the talking that I do, so it should be easier for you to get your heart rate down a little bit quicker. And heel taps. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Awesome work, everyone. That's probably feels a little bit more of a push to get through than it did last session, but we kept it a bit more up tempo. There was a few new exercises in there and a few variations just to keep you on your toes, and it helps mentally for you to be learning something slightly new at each session and trying to master both your skating position and as many parts of your skating technique as you can possibly include while you're doing these exercises to get the maximum benefit to transfer to your skating. So don't forget the cool down component that we always say, a minimum of 3 minutes easy jogging. If it's still nice outside and it's not pouring down, you might want to jog along the block or up and down your driveway, or like me, if it's not good weather, it's just up and down the hallway. But 3 minutes continuous jogging at a minimum. So grab your watch and do that. And once you've done that, grab something to eat. If you've already had dinner, maybe that's just a handful of food or like a bite of a muesli bar, just something to get you some recovery food in that first 20 minutes, and then 15 to 20 minutes worth of gentle stretching. And let's hold each of those stretches for 1 minute plus. Doesn't have to be stretching hard, but it needs to be continuous so you can feel as your muscles start to relax and you can lean into the stretch a little bit more over time.